What's going on, everybody? Z here, and welcome to Astroneer. So, you guys may be new to the game, you may not be new, but I want to make a few videos on all those new PlayStation players that we're going to be having for, make some quick tips and tricks and things like that. So, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you do, don't forget to leave a like. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe as well for some more. So, super basic. You're about to start a game. You can choose suits. These are where you're going to customize your suits and all that fun stuff. Now, a lot of these are going to be locked. Same with the all the different colors, because those are based on achievements and doing things in the game. So that's where you're gonna find all these. You can change these at any time. You can change your little emotes, do all that fun stuff. But we're just gonna start a new game so we can kind of show you what to expect here. But yes, thank you guys for coming out. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. And I'm curious, how many PlayStation players do we have? Leave a comment down below if you guys are playing on PlayStation now. So super exciting that is now an option on PlayStation. I'm super happy. I can't wait. It's just gonna be a good time. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna land down here on your planet. Yep. This is Silva. Congratulations. You're now home. Things will open magically. Absolutely wonderful. All of this is standard. This will happen every single time. Every single game, it'll happen. But from here, what do you do? Well, the beautiful thing about Astroneer is it's almost Minecraft-esque, right? You can kind of do whatever you want to do. If you just want to start like just playing around, exploring, doing all that fun stuff, you can. But there's a few things to keep in mind, and I want to just kind of cover those super basically, super quickly. Is you have a couple of things right here. You're gonna notice there's no HUD, there's no heads-up display, there's nothing like that. Everything is shown pretty much through your backpack or through little emblems and icons like that. So you're going to have an oxygen canister, oxygen bar up here. This is going to be your power bar, oxygen bar. Anytime you are not tethered to something and don't have a source of oxygen anywhere in your backpack, you're going to see that bar starts going down. Well, guess what? You're going to have to come back and tether up. That way you don't die. You don't want to meet your unfortunate end. Now, as far as power goes, anytime you print something from your backpack, which is this little guy right here, this little tiny printer. This will expand as you go on, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I'm just trying to make a super basic little thing, kind of run through the basics super quick. Anytime you print something here, it's gonna take some power. Fantastic, that's what's gonna happen. But you might be like, well, print what? Like, I don't understand. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing here? Well, that's great. That's a very good question. So, the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna open up this guy, hit this button. You're gonna get some items for free. You're gonna get an oxygenator. Now, the thing about the oxygenator is it allows you to tether to your habitat. Now, we'll get into tethers here in just a second, but let's go ahead and let's get the starter platform out and the printer, the starting medium printer. We'll get those two guys out. We'll just throw them over here. Fantastic. Now, connecting these platforms up, right? Let's see. Let's say you wanted to make something. We want to make a large platform type A. You need 2 resin. Well, what's resin? What is resin? What is compound? Compound and resin are your 2 most used items in the game. They're the basic building blocks for Astroneer. Resin a little bit more than compound, but you're gonna have compound right here, just like this. Look at that, compound. And all you do is use your terrain tool and dig out the compound. That's all you have to do, and you will collect it. Now, I'm also collecting organic, because this is all organic material. So you'll collect up the organic and you'll collect up compound. Wonderful. I know, we're off to a great start here. So a couple basic things about the terrain tool. Since we're starting to dig and do all that fun stuff, the default mode is to dig. So you just go around, press your action button, and you will dig. Yay! Well, there's an alternate mode. There's a couple alternate modes. There is a flatten mode. Now you're going to notice a giant red X. That means I can't use that function of the terrain tool yet because I'm missing something. There's something I don't have. And then there's also the add terrain tool. You can kind of see that the arrow points up, and we'll get into that in just a second as well. But we have some compound, we have some organic. Oh, cool, wonderful, right? But we need some resin. We need some resin, and I don't see any resin nearby. And you might be like, well, how do I leave if how do I leave if I don't have oxygen? Now, you might have to run out and go and get compound or resin a little bit. You might not have it right next to your base. That is very well possible. But resin and compound are the most abundant resources on Silva, so you should not have an issue. But if you happen to get compound, you can go ahead and print yourself a stack of tether bundles. Now, you'll see my power is going down. It's because I'm using that to print. This guy right here, your starting habitat, your shelter, has a power generation, small power generator on it. It will power your suit. It'll power some basic things, but not a lot. So you're gonna have to run into some power things later. But where do we want to go? Let's head over here because there's some debris over here. Now for PC, it is just T. There's a hot button to place tethers. I'm sure there is on console as well. But I haven't played it a whole lot on console myself, so I'm sorry. But yeah, look at that. Super basic, super easy. And we are getting oxygen and power. Tethers will supply you with oxygen and power. Granted, you have power generation and an oxygenator back at your base. So let me give you an example here. If we didn't have this oxygenator out, that tether line is not working. You can see it's dark. It's not connected to anything. That's why you need the oxygenator. So if you're having issues with that, that's why. Also, if you place the tether too far away, okay, that wasn't a good example. Too far away, it won't connect. So there is a range limit. There's a limit on how far you can actually tether from one another. But we need resin. There we go. We got some resin-y goodness. Let's go over here. Let's throw our tethers down so we don't have to worry about oxygen. And let's grab some of this wonderful resin. See, I ran out of tethers, but I'm not super worried about it. We're close enough. We have enough time. We'll be all right. You will probably end up exploring quite a bit on without tethers. You will start to get to a point where you won't use tethers as much anymore for anything. But that time is not now. All right, my oxygen is about halfway gone. We have a little bit of resin. Let's go ahead and head back over here. Connect up. There we go. We can take a breath. Things are good. Now, as I passed a few of these things. There's debris laying around from previous Astroneers or like storyline stuff. Most of the stuff is broken. However, there's a few things on here, like these extenders are good, which are good for power extending. And I did notice over here we had a couple things as well. So keep an eye out for these guys. These are super useful. Another thing of extenders. I don't really need those right now, but this one, oh, this is a good one. This is a full-size medium wind turbine and small wind turbine. These right here are a type of power generation, and if you can find these things are golden. I'm going to tell you right now, we got super lucky in finding a medium wind turbine super easy and super quick. Actually, you know what? There's another one right there. Wow, this is amazing. But you might not find these, but the smaller guys, usually you can find a few of the smaller guys. And that's usually how I get my base power early in the game, but we'll get into that, probably in a later episode. So you get your stuff, cool. We have some resin and you want to print this bad boy. Guess what? Oh, well, I have the resin, but I don't have any power. Well, guess what? You got to connect that power up. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, I know if you played through the tutorial, a lot of this is covered in the tutorial, but if you didn't and you're like me and you just want to watch a quick video, this basically covers the basics. So that guy's printing. Fantastic. It does take time. It is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna set some of this stuff off here for now because my backpack is getting full and I want to be able to go out and get more goodies. Would you please? Okay, thank you. And then let's go ahead and throw this guy on there like that. Fantastic. Now these guys require a larger platform to be placed on. You can't just connect them up. The smaller guys though, you'll notice they have the cable plugs, so you could put this one on top of that guy if you wanted to, or you could just place it like that. Click it in there, cool. Or you can select it on your, whoa, hey, get over here and get on there. Okay, thank you. So you can see that'll happen. That'll do that. But you want to be like, okay, cool. I got my platforms printed. Well, now what? Well, guess what? Within your backpack, you have a catalog of items. These are items you can unlock. These are items you can print. The things that are unlocked already are going to be blue, and they're going to be like, hey, you can build this. And it tells you what you need to make it. But say you want something else. You want the next platform. There's a ton of items in here, tons of things. Typically how much they cost is usually about where in the game you're going to probably be unlocking them. Some things are more expensive than others, but you can see this one only costs 1,000, this one costs 5,000, this one costs 15,000. So you can see like differences. This is the jetpack. This is the hydrogen jetpack. I think this is the most expensive item in the game right now. I'm not positive, but I believe it is. But some basic things you're going to want from the beginning. You're going to want either some platforms, some other types of platforms, or you're going to want some better chambers, or you're going to want some utilitarian things. So your smelting furnace is going to be probably your next item, followed by the soil centrifuge, maybe the chemistry lab, and then the atmospheric condenser. As you can see, these all scale in bytes cost, which is the research currency that you use to unlock things. Now, I want a smelting furnace, 250 bytes. How do I get, what are bytes? How do I even get bytes? I don't even know what bytes are. Well, lucky for you, I am here. I am here for you. So, couple ways to get bytes. I'm going to go very briefly over this. There is more advanced ways to get bytes early on, but we're going to go through the basics on what you're going to be using, guaranteed in the beginning. You have a couple of items. You have these research items, these large research type items. Now, some of these are on the rocks, just like that. Some of them are underneath of plants, hazardous plants. That's one way to find them, but you're going to need a research chamber in order to make those happen, in order to turn those into the useful bytes that we want. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to plug this guy in, and I'm going to see what I need for a research chamber. Research chamber, 1 resin, 2 compound. I have that. Let's go ahead, print that, make that happen. Now, while we're hanging out here, let's throw this on there. Maybe we can get this printer to print a little bit faster. But you can see that this medium wind turbine needs a double slot item like that. So that guy's going to print, it's going to do its thing. But next thing, the next way that you can go ahead and try to get some bytes are, there's some plants. They look similar to these. Well, there's a whole bunch of different types of plants. But they have these little tiny pieces on them that you can research. You can just hit, press and hold your whatever key it is for you, and you can research that item. And it gives you instant bytes. It gives you them right away. Granted, it's usually lower than what it's going to be if you were to put it on a research chamber, but that's just how it is, because the research chamber does take time, whereas the other bytes are like instantaneous. I'm trying to find some. I think there might be some up here. So there's another research pod. There's a research pod right there. Fantastic. Let's go up here a little bit and see if we can't find something. There we go. Okay, here's a few of them. So you're going to see something similar to these, underground, above ground, wherever, and you can press and hold F to scan. For me, 33 bytes, done, good to go. 32 bytes, done, good to go. 40 bytes, good to go. Now you can see my overall bytes. I have 105. Wonderful, but I need 250. So I can go out and I can continue finding these little guys. Now these ones, as long as you don't dig up the spire or whatever they're on, they will come back. They will respawn. I don't think it's a set time. I think it's usually like a day-ish in game. So super easy way to get bytes. That's fantastic. These guys are jerks. we'll not worry about those right now. But yeah, that is a way to get bytes. So you can see we have 200 bytes now. It's pretty quick. It is pretty quick, but we have this guy. Let's go ahead. Let's unlock our research chamber real quick. Get this guy thrown in here. Like so. Come on, get in there. Okay, perfect. This guy's worth 450 bytes. However, it takes 11 minutes for it to research. So it's gonna sit here, it's gonna research. It does require power. So the more things these you have, the more power you're going to need. So that's where base power and stuff like that comes in. So we have some bytes, we can do some things, but we want a smelting furnace. We want some basic things because we need to unlock things. We need to do the things with the stuff. Okay. So you can see it now. We're getting 17 bytes per minute. That's what that means. Bytes per minute. 17 bytes per minute. So that's the rate at which that is scanning this, researching it. You could pull this guy off. You could throw this on here just in case you get a power surge while you're out doing the things if you want to. Or you can just make another platform and just start throwing power stuff on there, which would probably be a good idea. But you can do whatever you want. You can unlock things in any way that you want to, in any way that you see fit. But there's a kind of a generic, you want to get the basic items. You want to get the smelting furnace, the soil centrifuge, the chemistry lab, the atmospheric condenser. These are all things that you're going to need in order to build other items. So we're talking about the requirements and costs and things like that. Well, this requires glass. So you have to have a smelting furnace for glass. This requires nanocarbon alloy. That is the most required, not the most required, but it requires the most effort to get a nanocarbon alloy. That is a very last thing to do. You have to go out and know that you are trying to get nanocarbon alloy to make that happen. So, and there's a few things you need for it. So just be a little cautious of of what the items require, you might think that you want something more than another one. Well, there's a few things that are required before you can do anything. Let's see, tungsten or tungsten carbide, which is a form of tungsten, or diamond. You're not gonna be able to get that. Diamond, you technically could get that on silver, but tungsten you can't get on silver. So if you're looking for tungsten, wolframite, iron, or hematite, or looking for a specific gas, they're not always available on all the planets. Silva has all of the basic resources along with a few extra ones, I guess, but for the most part, you'll be able to get everything you need to get off planet from Silva. But yes, so now we have those going. Fantastic. We're at 234. We are waiting for that smelting furnace. Let me go see if we can't find something else to help us with our byte endeavor. So I think it might be time for us to head down into a cave. Let's head down into a cave. Now, there are cave openings. If you find a cave opening, that's awesome. Actually, let's go ahead and check over here. But you can just dig straight down to a cave. Now, this does have some kind of Minecraft-esque rules. Don't dig straight down. The reason you don't want to dig straight down on here is, well, you're not going to hit lava. But you might hit a cave opening and then you might fall to your death. So those are things to be careful of. Typically, it's good practice to build at an angle so you can walk down, you know, just like a lot of other games. We have a large crash thing over there. Those usually have some useful items in them. But again, I don't want to get into that. I just want to get into the absolute basics. This might be your first time ever playing. So what do? These are the things that can help you maybe. So I'm not seeing a cave super close by. Let's just go ahead. Let's dig our own. Let's make our way down and to hit a cave layer. Oh, I can't use my flatten tool yet. That's not good. Let's go ahead and change that. Let's make ourselves a small canister. A small canister for soil. Now, your canister is going to be using to gather soil. So as I dig, you can see that this canister fills up, and you can see the ring around my terrain tool slowly starts to fill up with blue. That is my canister. That's how much I have. But now I can flatten, which is fantastic. And I can place soil if I want to, but I just want to flatten, and I want to take it down right in here and hopefully hit a nice little cave layer. Now, as I'm flattening, as long as I'm taking soil away, it will continue to fill my canister. But if you're flattening over something and it's actually adding soil, then it will take away. So you just gotta be careful, you know, if you're going over like a gigantic cavern or a huge giant canyon or something like that in the game, just be, you know, make sure you have enough soil to do it, because you'd hate to be halfway in and then like running and doing the things and then all of a sudden, oh no, I'm out of my soil. That's not good. Okay, so I think we should be getting next to a cave semi-close. There's a few layers of caves. I know my auction's about halfway right now. We'll be all right. There's a few layers of caves and a few different items typically on the cave layers. But for the most part, Silva, you're not gonna have to worry about it too much, because like I said, it has like a pretty good mixture of all the basic resources readily available. Let's go ahead. Let's tether down into this cave. All right, so we tethered down into the cave. Awesome. This is our first cave. Look at that. There's a research item right there. That's wonderful. But you also have these guys. More of the research items. Yes, and they're a little bit more frequent down here, so you can kind of run around, collect these pretty quickly, and get the stuff that you're going to need. Now, we are trying to get a smelting furnace. So let's go ahead. Let's get something that we can throw in the smelting furnace to smelt once it's been made. We have aluminum right here. I'm going to gather this. Now, I'm also going to be making videos on how to find resources and like where they're typically located. So if you guys are looking for those, don't worry. I will have videos coming out dedicated for like each resource, how to find it, where to find it. A lot of the basic ones are going to be pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But some of the other ones like iron and hematite and stuff like that, those require a little bit more knowledge or a little bit more look up on and know-how. But okay, so we got some aluminum. We can take that back and we can prepare ourselves a smelting furnace. So we have plenty of bytes now. Absolutely fantastic. We have 870. We're still researching some stuff. Let's go ahead and let's unlock that smelting furnace. We need 1 resin and 2 compound. Now, I have my backpack completely full of stuff, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna set it over here for now, because there's really not a whole lot we can do with it right now with it anyways. Aluminum specifically, not a whole lot, but I need some resin and some compound. More resin, more compound. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. We have compound right here. This is super easy, super amazing. Now, you might not want to dig right next to your base, because then you're gonna have these holes laying everywhere. and they can be kind of a pain when it comes to like driving any kind of vehicles or anything like that. But hey, you know, it's your game. You do what you want. All right, so we have that. Let's go over here. Let's grab that resin that we had earlier. We have the resin, we have the compound, we are good to go, and our research has completed. Wonderful. So we can go ahead, we could get another research pod put in there if we wanted to. We're gonna get a smelting furnace built up. So something else that is super handy and super amazing is if you go to your menus, you can go into the Astropedia, which is a little rocket ship, and it says resources, and it'll show you all these different types of resources, refined resources, aluminum, copper, titanium, all that wonderful stuff. Super handy stuff in here. Great stuff. Shows you the little symbols next to them. That's a kind of a big part of that Astropedia. That'll come into play later. But we now have the smelting furnace. Well, we have it being built up anyways. And now we can start converting some basic resources into some refined resources through this step. Now, there are other refined resources, like I mentioned, tungsten carbide, nanocarbon alloys, all those combined items are going to be made in the chemistry lab. And for the chemistry lab, you might even need some gases, some types of gases to make that happen. But last little bits that I want to just kind of get out there is the soil centrifuge is a huge help, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it as an early game item. And the reason for that is because your soil that you collect along the way. Now, I only have one canister, so that means everything I'm digging now is going to nothing. You can actually see the back of my terrain tool right here. It has a little jet of fire. That's because that soil is just being burnt off and turned into nothing. So you might want to have a few of these canisters. Once it's full, it'll show that it's full. And you can use the soil centrifuge to turn that soil into other items. Specifically, the soil centrifuge is the most useful for resin and compound, because like I mentioned before, resin is needed for everything. Resin for this platform, resin for this platform. Resin is used everywhere on everything. So it's fantastic to use that soil to convert into resin. Very useful, very handy stuff. So, but yeah, that's basically it. Where you go from here is up to you. You can do what you want, when you want, how you want. You can explore, you can go look for vehicles. There's tractors, all kinds of things. There's drills, you have horns, you have just all kinds of fun things. You have shuttles and all that whatnots. But yeah, this is like, I just wanted like a super basic rundown of what to maybe expect when you're playing, or like, okay, I got into this, now what do I do? Well, this might give you something to do. And I'm gonna have a playlist. Along with this playlist is going to be all of the basics and how-tos on all of the super, I'm gonna break it down by like carbon or resin and compound, and then like aluminum and hematite, and like all the different vehicles and all the different things. They're all gonna be quick videos on essentially, you know, how to find this, how to use this, things like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe as well for some more. If you don't want the how-tos and the basics videos, well, guess what? I have a whole bunch of other videos of series that we've ran on Astroneer. Astroneer is my #1 game on the channel, so it's kind of what we do. It's what we do here. But thank you guys for coming out. Again, I'm curious. Are you guys on Are you on PlayStation? How many people are on PlayStation? Leave a comment down below. But hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.